Hello, all gnomes and earth elemental energies. I am Abe with MysticGenmara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho, and today I would like to offer your elemental energy reading for Earth for the month of July of 2025. Earth covers the zodiac signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, so if you are Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, then this one is for you. Or if you have Earth high up in your birth charts, and there's a link in the description. It's not sponsored or anything like that, but it's a really good tool to have just to kind of give you an idea about who you are as a person, what else might be influencing you. They're kind of a lot of fun to go through just to see what quirks are there. And the elemental alignment section is actually pretty fascinating as well. Also, if you're interested as to why I read for the elements versus the zodiac, that's linked in the description. So with that, we'll get started with the reading. We'll start with the I-ching, and I cast the hexagram before I started the video. So Earth, you have number 31, which is the hexagram of attraction and sensation. So July could be a very fun month for our Earth family. Attraction, success, righteous persistence brings reward. Taking a wife will result in good fortune. We're looking at an old text, so you can take spouse or take wife, whichever you prefer. You probably take husband if you really wanted to as well. But what it's saying is this righteous persistence brings reward. In other words, the things that have been catching your attention, the things that you've been drawn to, is where your success is really going to lie. And that could be taking a partner along for the journey and going through this adventure together, and that's going to actually improve. Like, if you're solo journeying, great. You're still going to have a really good time, but if you can find a partner or someone who, you know, what do they call those? There's a term I'm looking for. My brain just gave it up. But basically, your cohort in crime, there we go. Someone you can go play and have fun with and experience this with, it's actually going to lead to a much better outcome. So let's take a peek here and see what our foundational line is. Sensation in the toe. So that's an interesting way to start things off. But really what they're talking about is this is something that is happening outside of you to start with. The sensations are going to be outward, but I'm getting the impression they're going to be moving inward. So this is a little bit different. Usually we look into affect the outside, but for Earth, you tend to be more physical anyway. So we're going to start outside and quite possibly start moving in. So our second place line is sensation in the legs, misfortune. Good fortune comes to those who do not venture forth. Why does this? There's a footnote here. Let's see what they say. Misfortune if we yield to the urge to exercise our legs by going somewhere else. This is saying don't go wandering too far. You have a goal, you have a path, you have a journey, quite possibly someone who's with you along this journey. Don't get too wandery. Stay focused on what you're going with, and that's where the success comes in. Good fortune comes to those who do not venture forth. Well, what that's really saying is this is a time for you to stay focused on the journey ahead and not wander around too very much. You can have fun, you can explore, but make sure you're sticking to the goal and the path ahead. So, our third place line is sensation in the thighs. He cleaves so closely to his wife, spouse, that for him to continue, or her, in this manner would be shameful. So you don't want to get too obsessed with the person that you're going on the journey with. The purpose is the journey. This is just the person you're bringing along because it's fun as heck to have this person with you. Getting too distracted in the sensations from the other person, you're actually going to stop looking for your long-term journey. If this is a spiritual journey, there is some reference in a lot of the older texts, especially if you look into the old grimoires, where they actually have a period of celibacy before the great works can be done. It's so that you're not distracted by the other person. And that's what this is saying. Sensations in the thighs, cleave so closely to his spouse or her spouse, and this is, to continue in this way would be shameful. You're not going to do yourself favors by becoming that obsessed. Now, that doesn't mean to turn your back on your spouse. It's saying don't negate everything else because of the spouse. That's something that you will see in couples on occasion. They'll get so obsessed with the person that they're with, that they forget that they have, job, they had goals, they have ambitions. Make them all work together. You are the one that creates your life, so make it into a path where you can have the 2.5 kids and the dog and the white picket fence, all that stuff, but you're not giving up other parts. And if you do give them up, make sure it's because you choose to, not because someone's saying you'd better do this, because that doesn't work out either. So our 4th place line: righteous persistence brings good fortune and regret vanishes, but only friends and immediate followers will waste their thoughts on those who dither irresolutely to and fro. Again, stay focused on the destination. The journey is supposed to be fun. That's the purpose of the journey, is to make the destination that much more sweet. Righteous persistence brings good fortune, regret vanishes. Stay focused, use your morals and your ethics. There is so much to this that leads to positive outcomes just in general, but with the I-ching, this is a path of how to live life to the highest possible frequency. And that's what they're saying. Only friends and immediate followers will waste their thoughts on those who dither irresolutely to and fro. This is saying the people who are around you may get distracted by, well, there's a cool path and there's a cool path. They can go do their thing. Earth, you have a destination, and you're bringing someone along for the ride, or they're bringing you along for the ride. Somehow you two are together on a ride. And this is meaning, stay focused on the thing that you guys are working towards. They're the ones that they're not walking your journey. Let them go have their fun. You have your purpose. Stay focused, and with that righteous persistence, that morals, those ethics, staying focused, doing the right thing for the right reason is going to benefit you immeasurably this month. So our capstone here, this funny broken line at the top. Oh, nope, we're on line 5, sorry. Sensation in the fleshy covering of the spinal column, no regret. This is really saying you can be too strict in how you approach life. The fleshy spinal column. The flesh on the outside of the spine does move. The spine doesn't usually, it flexes a little bit, but not, it doesn't go moving on its own. And they're saying sensation in the fleshy covering of the spinal column, no regret. There's going to be some things that move around. There may be some shifting that's possibly not the most comfortable for you. Stay focused on the things that are important. Just because things are shifting and moving, because if you're on a journey, especially a spiritual one, your life will shift and move. It will do so, in some cases, very drastically. Not the most comfortable thing, but the outcome is going to be the best result. And that's what they're talking about here. So, our capstone here, number 6, sensation in the jaw and the tongue. This is saying, be careful that you are using your words wisely. As you go through this month of July, Earth, you're doing some growth. You're on a journey. You possibly have a partner with you of some form. And this is where your journey is your own personal journey. No one else is going to be able to live this journey for you. This is yours. And that's where you stay focused on the important things. You stay focused on the morals, the ethics. Am I doing the right thing for the right reason? When you step forward in those mindsets, you purposely go out of your way to not harm other people, which is important. But you also are looking for the way to uplift others along the way. You're living the example that you wish to set. This is not an easy concept, and these are big spiritual concepts, so, apply them as necessary. But what they're really wanting you to stay focused on here is the journey itself. The destination is what your goal is. But if you focus too much on the goal, the destination, you're actually going to forget or maybe miss out on parts of the journey that are there for enjoyment. That's where having that partner along the way is going to be so beneficial for you. Again, if you want to solo fly, that's fine. There's no law against that. The I-ching says you can have it or not. That's you. But having that partner sometimes can keep you focused on the journey is important, but you can still have fun along the way. So with that, we'll hop over here to our cards and tarot. Before we do that, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and comment. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and impressions. And something a little different I'm trying out, seeing what you guys think. As I'm holding up the cards and I'll be talking and bringing in my guides' information, if you see something different or you get a different impression, if you're comfortable with it, drop your ideas down in the comments, because it's always fun to hear what other people's intuition brings forward. So again, feel free. We'll make this a little more interactive and see what you guys think, and gals. With that, we'll get started, and I read week by week, so there's about 5 weeks in July, so we'll go with 5 sets. Each week we look at a guide or guardian, a message from source, some kind of support, some kind of positive message coming in from the divine, and then we'll look at the tarot, see if it's a lesson, challenge, some clarification, see what the tarot has to add to the mix. So you're starting off with our Archangel Jophiel and the spirit animal of the camel. Be forbearing and patient. This is actually a really interesting card to have with your particular I-ching, which is talking about a travel or a journey. The camels are really good at being able to travel really long distances with minimal external fluid brought in. Now, when they get to their destination, yes, they drink. But in the meantime, they're built to function for a period of time without that, which allows for continuing the journey. And be forbearing and patient means planning ahead. This is where you're at the first part of the month, this first week of July, is you're planning ahead, you're kind of seeing how things are going, because there is this journey ahead of you, whether it's a spiritual journey where you're going to have to work on some meditation techniques and some, manifestations, some affirmations, or whether it's a physical journey where you're making plans to go on vacation, or it could be a road trip for work. This is your time to really set things up and get ready for what's coming. And this is also when you could be inviting that person along for the ride, whether it's a romantic partner, whether it's a business co-worker, your work bestie, or whatever it may be. This is the time when that's all going to start to set up, is this first week. So your message from source is: your life is a canvas. Artistic manifestation, creative accountability. That sounds fun. This is a great time for you to really start to set those intentions. Refresh that vision board. What is it you're wanting to create this month? Get those destinations, those goal lines very clear. That way, when you go down this path, you get to have fun along the journey. And I like the fact that down here they say creative accountability. This is where you're staying focused on the goal and you're not getting distracted by everyone else running hither and thither. You've got your focus, and that's where you're headed. So this is saying, get that focus, get that manifestation, set up the vision board if you need it, so that you know where you're headed this month. This is a month where you're planning for the end game, but you're willing to have as much fun and see where the journey takes you along the way, because it's not all about must plan every step. That doesn't work so much, sorry Earth, but in that particular aspect, this is going to be a little bit more free-flowing for you. And the tarot is this is perfect. Number 16, change your life. This is what July is calling you to do, our Earth energy. Archangel Camiel's coming in with a sudden revelation that offers freedom, breaking free of procrastination, embracing the opportunities that change brings. In a lot of your traditional tarots, this card is associated with the Tower, creative destruction. This is where things need to shift, need to change. Does it mean to throw everything away? No. What it does mean, though, is take the parts that no longer work, disassemble that thing, throw away the bad parts, replace them with something better. Maybe tear it down and rebuild it into something different. This is your opportunity, and this first week is where the work begins. It's not a matter of, I have to do it all right now. This is the beginning. You've got a whole month here to play with this, get those manifestation juices flowing, and really start to focus on what is it's not working. That can be taken out of the equation. What's left, and how can I build from that into something so much more awesome than what was before? So, let's take a peek at your second week, Earth. We have the Raven, preparing for change with Archangels Azrael and Bakpi. So this is where you really start to step into this authority. You've done your preliminaries in the first week. You kind of figured out where you're headed. Now is the mindset shift. Ravens are one of the symbols I see them as wisdom. This is a time to take your knowledge and your experience, put them together, because wisdom comes from learning something and then putting it into practice. This is where wisdom is. Preparing for change is something that is a challenge. It's not always easy. But in this aspect, the second week is saying, you know where you're headed. You know what you need to do to get started. That was the first week. Now it's time to put the pedal to the metal, pen to paper, however you want to play that. This is where your actions start to take place. If it's that business trip, this is when you're buying your tickets. This is when you're setting up those motel rooms or the Airbnb or whatever it is you're using. If it's that vacation, this is when you're actually setting down, this is what we're going for. If it's the spiritual journey, this is where you're asking yourself, this is what my goal is. Is this something I can accomplish in this time period? And if so, what is the first step along that journey? And then putting it into practice. So you've got a lot of support in this second week, but there's also this challenge of, okay, you got the plan in place. Now what are you going to do with it? You actually going to follow through? And that's what the Raven is saying. It's time to put the work in. Your message from Source is cracked open, rock bottom, surrendering to the alchemy of life. This is where we start to change. This is where you start to shift. When you get the plan in place, that's great. Good job. You got the first step. But when you have the Raven coming in with cracked open, it's saying, now it's time to put the action into place. You know what you're going. You know where you're going. You know what your plan is. This is where you're called to actually follow through. This is not a simple energy in the second week. And I'm feeling it coming in a really serious thing like Earth. This is where we have to move. Earth tends to move a little bit slower than the other elements because they're very grounded. That's fine. But this second week, basically you have a cattle prod behind you saying, come on, let's do this. And that's the energy, is it's cracking you open. It's changing how you look at life, even in a minor way. I don't care how big or small your change is. The second week is going to challenge you. It's going to make you step out of your comfort zone. Is that going to be easy? No. But is it necessary? Of course it is. That's how you grow. We all grow through change. It's never easy, unfortunately. So your tarot is the page of Ariel. And this is stepping into some of that more earthy energy as well. Reliable, clever, educated, and balanced. An excellent opportunity will be offered to you. Scholarships, pursuit of education, time to get to work. Second week, get busy, Earth. This is time to move. The page of Ariel, though, is saying this is where you can actually invite some of that more intellectual energy in. Maybe there's a piece that you're missing. Find your opposite, which is air, and ask them, hey, this is what I got going on. Air has this unique ability, and sometimes it's frustrating, to be able to see things from a very broad perspective. Air lives in their heads. Earth is all about the physical, so this is where you guys have a little bit of an issue sometimes. But in this particular energy, the second week, ask someone who's air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or if you've got Earth and air balanced in your chart, which would be awesome, really focus on that intellectual part. Okay, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm starting. What am I missing? And that's what the page of Ariel's coming in to offer, is the what am I missing part, which is helps fill in those blanks. And what I'm hearing with this one is, if it's something to do with work, there is something that your boss hasn't told you yet. That's what I'm hearing right off the bat. If it's a journey, it might be advisable to see what else is going on in the area during that travel, especially if it's vacation. Are you going to be flying into or driving into a complete chaos because there's a local festival you missed? Something along those lines, where paying attention and knowing these little details, that way you can short circuit or diffuse a problem before there is one, is kind of the vibe I'm getting right here. So our third week is the Rabbit. Recognize your significance, working with Archangel Gabriel. There's even a unicorn in this. And this is where you've understood the journey. The second week was about taking those first steps, and this is how you play into this whole thing. If you've got a partner, there may be points where you let them shine brighter than you. That's fine. That's how partnerships work. But don't forget how you stand out in the situation. Recognize your significance. You are the one that came up with this idea. Now it's time to run with it. And you notice there's these two energies here. They're meeting in the heart chakra energy, and it's releasing this vibe around them that is radiating out. This is where you find that balance of opposites, and that's interesting considering the second week I suggested finding someone with air to help balance your earth energy. And that's what I'm hearing with this rabbit is you're bringing things together so that you can move forward. If we look to the I-ching's message, this is where you don't want to get distracted by your partner, but this is why the partner is important. It balances you out as you're going forward. Whether it's a work bestie, whether it's a romantic partnership, whatever it is, this is where you're finding that balance. So you're not feeling dejected. You're not feeling overwhelmed. You're not feeling completely disconnected because you've got all these things going on. This is where you're like, oh, okay, so you're the reason that I'm understanding this more clearly. And trust me, sometimes, personal experience here, because I've had an amazing work bestie for a lot of years, there's times where she will straight call me out, but it's the balance that I need. And there's times where I will straight call her out. It's the balance she needs. And the rabbit is saying, don't forget your significance. You and this other person are balancing each other out. And that's where you're stepping into this uplifted energy. You're working with Archangel Gabriel, which is a water energy. Water is all about the emotions. And when you have that energy coming in, it's saying, okay, you two, let's get on the same page. Let's smooth things over, because fire is destructive. Earth has its moment, so does air. But when water starts to rock and roll, big stuff happens fast. And my personal opinion, water and earth are the two most powerful and possibly destructive forces in the universe. When we have that energy coming in here, it's time to really pay attention, because you're not as insignificant as you may think at times. You're very much at play here, but it's that balance that's going to help keep the play from becoming a problem. So your message from Source is the cosmic heart, devotion, potency, making your life a moving prayer. Don't forget, no matter what's going on, the cosmic heart, the heartbeat of the universe, God, Source Divine, the Lord and Lady, however you see this, when you tap into that experience, you tap into your intuition, you tap into the expansion of your consciousness, you tap into that elevation of what it is you're doing from a simple vacation to a spiritual connection. You tap into, this is a work situation, you make it something better. How can you improve the lives of others? You have the rabbit calling you into balance, and the cosmic heart is saying, listen to the heartbeat of the universe. Yes, you're coming into balance. That's awesome. But now it's also time to really sorry, I had a message from work. Day job. Set those actions into motion. So this is your energy this third week is, don't forget that you're an active player in this situation. Understand the balance and listen to the cosmic heartbeat of the universe. That's going to guide your steps. And Earth, you're all about the physical. The heartbeat of the universe can be a very physical experience, and that's where you're at right here. So let's take a peek at our message from the tarot. We have number 21, the World, end of the original major arcana, with Archangel Michael. A very happy ending, coming full circle, spiritual growth and insight. You're approaching part of this journey's end. This is saying you can see the end from where you're standing in this third week. And this is Archangel Michael's here to help clear the path. Cut away what doesn't serve, clear the cords, get you ready to be able to step into this brilliance that's coming forward. The world is the gift of success. The world is the gift of completion. Finding your balance, listening to that heartbeat of the universe is going to allow you to see ahead and see what's really important in the next steps, allowing you to move into that grace and that beauty. Not sure why they keep bringing up that phrase, but they are really getting loud about it right now. So, Earth, find ways to just be the most beautiful, out loud person you can be this month, is what I'm apparently getting part of that. And the next card that came up is the Parrot. Listen intently to understand with Archangel Bakpi. And this is where we're stepping into that listening. But you're being not loud as in, I'm going to tell the world what to do. You're being loud in how you stand up. You're being loud in the fact that you don't care what the other people say. The I-ching talks about let everyone else run around chasing everything to and fro. It's not that big of a deal to you because you have a goal. You may even have a partner along the way that's helping you towards that goal. They're balancing you. The parrot is saying, listen to understand. That's that balance energy in play. You had to come into balance in the third week, but this fourth week is where that really is starting to show, and that's where the energies are lining up for you. And the parrot, of course, is going to be a little bit more flamboyant. That's why stand out and be loud, not, verbally, hopefully not, but show yourself to be, you know what? I got this. I got my buddy here, my wife, my husband, my spouse, my partner, my bestie, whatever. I can handle this because this person is supporting me and I'm supporting them. We've got this. So this is kind of turning into a joint reading for Earth. Sorry about that. Your message from Source is big picture thinking. Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. Now that you're starting to understand where you're going, you can see the end game. You can see the gate ahead. The world is basically at your feet, but it's opening the pathway to what you actually are looking for. If this is a business thing that you're going on, this journey that you're taking, this is where you start to see how this is going to impact and improve your life. If this is a vacation, this is how you're going to have those experiences that you're going to remember forever. This is where you start to put the spiritual and the physical into one space. There's no such thing as spirit without the physical. There's really no such thing as physical without the spirit. And in this fourth week, you're starting to understand that a little bit more because, yeah, it might be a work trip, but how is it changing you? And how are you affecting the world around you? It might be a vacation to relax. What happens when you relax? You slip more peacefully into that state of growth and expansion. So Earth, you have a lot of really cool vibes coming up this month, and we're not even done. We've got one more week to go. My deck tried to explode on me, just 1 second. And so you're really in this awesome vibe right now of steps are happening, the doors are opening. You might need a little nudge, but it's actually because you're heading in the right direction and you're like, change. Don't be afraid of change. Your message from Tarot is number 13, Peace, with Archangel Azrael. Releasing the past, there's more enriching future to come. Let go and let God. In traditional tarot, this is the death card. But is it really death? Azrael is the angel that guides the person who's passed into the next world. This is actually a very comforting position. And this card is saying, you see the path ahead of you. You've made a lot of movement this month, and you've made a lot of shifts and changes, even if it's, in other people's opinions, minor. To you, these were big. Now it's time to let go of that which no longer serves. Those things that you were cutting away in the first of the month with the Tower card, what was the name of that card? Change your life energy. This is where those things are finally let go. It is time for you, Earth, to step into this next level. You're uplifting, you're leveling up, you're going from down here to up here. You have to throw away some of those anchors to get to that point, and that's the energy that's coming up for you this fourth week. There's some stuff that may not just work. It just doesn't work anymore. It was super important and it helped you get to where you're at. But do you still need it? That's like saying I'm going to save that particular pair of pants or that dress because one day I might need it again. If you lost the weight, burn that thing. Like, get rid of it. There's no reason to be carrying that kind of load around. If you've grown beyond guilt and shame over something that happened 20 years ago, the person's not even in your life anymore, why are you still carrying the guilt and the shame? If this is something that had to do with a job that was a hiccup a long time ago, someone may have gotten fired because of something that you said, or someone got in trouble because of something, is that person still in the picture? Are you even still at that same job? If the answer is no, let it go. God's Source Divine is going to release it. Forgive yourself, forgive the situation, ask Archangel Michael to cut that cord, and release it. This is that peace that comes after the release. It's that quiet point where you're like, oh, I didn't need that anymore. And that's what they're bringing up this 4th week. Let's see how we wrap up the month of July for our Earth family. Wolf is your animal. Be independent, but work together. Again, with that partnership thing. With Archangel Zariel, the wolves are very much about their community. They're very much about the growth and partnership. This is where you and your partner, your work bestie, are coming together. This is, again, you're tapping into that 3rd week energy of the balance with the swirls. This is where this is coming into its fulfillment. This is where you step into true alignment. You can be an independent individual. It's actually better if you are, but you can still be in that relationship where you're finding that balance. You can be independent individuals together. Sounds weird, but it works. And that's what they're saying is this 5th week, you understand how your partner, your work bestie, whichever that is, has helped you stay balanced. And by this point, you're also starting to realize you're keeping that person balanced as well. You're maybe keeping them grounded when they're like, wee, off into the ether. You're like, no, get back down here. And that's where this energy is coming in. As this 5th week, you're starting to see this play out. You've known this, Earth. This is not a new concept for you. But in this 5th week, you're seeing it in action, which is actually making it a little more solid for you. And with that being said, they're saying, have fun with this. Enjoy this last week. Just like with the I-ching, the success that happens, everything's going to be fun, but you don't have to talk about it. You and your partner can communicate without words. If you don't believe me, trust me on this. My bestie and I, we literally can look at each other across the room, have an entire conversation, and never open our mouths. It is amazing. We've done that in front of bosses for years where they're like, you didn't say anything, but there was something that was said. Yes, and that's why it was funny to us, not to you. And there's, even with my current day job, there's times where that happens now. If you're willing to have the connection, it's going to open that communication where you can have that. You can laugh, you can joke. I've watched married couples who've been together for a long time, 20, 30 years. With a glance, they can have an entire conversation, and it usually ends up being they didn't even realize they were having it. Like they were completely unaware. That's that wolf energy. That's that independence where you're each an individual, but you have synced to the point where you can actually work together flawlessly. So, your message from Source is the void. Stop, embrace winter, and great cosmic womb. Don't forget to rest. This month is going to be a lot of ups and downs and bounces and fun and laughter and work and putting in the effort. But the void in this last week is saying, now that you've made the connection, now that you've got there, now that you've achieved whichever branch of it you're dealing with, don't forget to rest. Don't forget to recover. Don't forget to take care of this physical form. In a lot of the older scriptures, they'll talk about the physical form being a temple. Okay, use that. You have to maintain this thing. You're living in this meat suit for the time being. This is something that is worth taking care of. And that's what the void is saying, is embrace this quietness. You've done the work. You've achieved a lot this month. And what they're saying is by the end of the month, you're going to see how things are playing out the way they're supposed to be for you. And this is where that deep breath peace comes into play. So your last message from the tarot is 8 of Raphael. There is something better waiting for you. Do what you know is right, a spiritual quest. You're ending the month after completing something, saying, well, you got here, now there's something more. This is not saying you didn't do enough. You did what you needed to do this month. You've done the things to complete your journey, whether it's a physical one like a job for something, travel for work, or it's something to do with that relationship. Now you've achieved it. Guess what? Now you can see that there's something even better coming. You can see that there's even something more important, fun, expansive that is achieving for you. Earth, this month, I'm really feeling strongly right now. Ground yourself into the heart of Gaia. She has so many gifts to offer you. She has this beautiful energy, that heartbeat of the universe energy that is saying, now is your time, Earth. This is the time for you to change the things that you no longer like. You don't want this certain thing in your life? Here's the door. It is completely up to you to make these changes. The 8 of Raphael by the end of the month is saying, you've done that. Now you understand it's possible. Look what more you can do as you're going forward. So, Earth, I hope this message resonates for you. I know it was a little all over the place today, but take the time to really enjoy as this journey progresses. Really take the time to allow the changes to happen. Pay attention to the people that you're with, especially that one person, that spouse or that work bestie, because they're going to help bounce things off of you and help keep you focused on what's important this month. So with that, I will let you guys go. Have a great month of July. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about the expansion and shifts as you go through this month, and I will see you in the next video.